Welcome everyone to another of my min-max character creation videos. My name is Macsen. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the wizard class, and more specifically we're going to be looking at a melee type wizard or a frontline wizard. A frontline wizard is a wizard that directly takes the attacks from opponents, so they're right at the front, where normally a fighter or a defensive paladin would be. You may be wondering, is this class even possible? Would it work? And how good is this class, if indeed it is a viable class at all? And I'm going to be trying to answer some of those questions in this video. So first things first, let's take a look at the wizard's details. So they have stats and abilities. I'm going to assume that you know a certain amount about the wizard already. I will be doing another wizard class video in the future with a more conventional wizard. But wizards have grimoires, a book that contains spells. You can pick a number of spells every couple of levels or so. And they can use their spells for a variety of uses. They're mainly personal buffs to the actual wizard and area of effect damage spells. They are a caster type class, of course. So they have a couple of skills. They have a bonus to lore and mechanics. So you usually probably want to invest in those skills if you're a wizard. Now when we're talking about a melee type wizard, something that is very important are their actual stats. Their endurance, health, accuracy and deflection. Now they're actually the worst in the game in every single category. And that's not good, especially if you want to make them good at melee or on the front line. So they have the worst health, the worst endurance, and the worst deflections. They get hit easily, and when they get hit, they go down easily. And because of their low accuracy, they're not going to do much damage in melee to their combat probably either, since they're going to miss so often. So overcoming these obstacles is going to be very difficult to turn the wizard class into a good frontline class or type of adventurer companion, but they're going to try and figure a way to do that. So I should probably mention attributes. Now normally for a more conventional wizard you'd just be maxing out your intellect, your dexterity and your might, so you'd attack quickly, do a lot of damage, and you'd have huge area of effect and huge duration. Now I can't really do that with a melee wizard, because if I stuck the wizard on the front line, it would last about a couple of hits before it went down. It wouldn't stand a chance. Maybe one hit in certain amount of circumstances. So I've had to invest in certain things that you probably would be a very bad idea to normally invest in for a normal wizard. So I've maxed out my resolve, and I've also maxed out my perception, and I've tried to invest as much in constitution as possible. I've actually lowered dexterity and might to their minimum amounts, and I've maxed out my intellect. The reason I've maxed out my intellect is because these duration amounts, the extra percentage, that is going to be very important for a melee wizard. I think it's worthwhile doing this still, even more so than maxing out your constitution. The problem with constitution is it relies upon your initial stats to a very large degree. So you can see here we get a 15% bonus. Now if your endurance and health is a small amount to begin with, 15% isn't going to make much of a big difference, to be honest. A percentage bonus on an initial small amount is still going to end up being a small amount. Now even with this amount of condition, it probably would be less in terms of health and endurance than a barbarian, for example, that had hardly any constitution, a few points in terms of health and endurance. So this wizard is still going to go down very easily in theory. But to try and prevent that, I've increased my perception and resolve, so our deflection is maxed out as much as possible. So this will mean that conventional attacks have a much higher chance of missing. And also our concentration is increased, which is nice. Extra will, so this wizard will be very good at defending against those attacks. Fortitude isn't going to be so great because I have low might, and action speed means it's not going to attack very often, sadly, and it's going to be a bit vulnerable to area of effect attacks as well. But there is something we can do about area of effect later on. Now for my race, I've decided to choose a godlike race. That's increased my dexterity and intellect Intellect is so important for wizards, so I'm happy about that. The main reason I've decided to go for the godlike in this circumstance is because Moon Godlike is very good. It increases your endurance when you reach a certain level, and a wizard is likely to reach those certain levels. You're probably going to get hit a certain amount, especially on the harder difficulties, so this could be very useful. Now, I've heard on the actual release of the game, or on the first patch, this ability is actually probably going to be getting a nerf, which is a bit of a shame, so it's not going to be quite as good. You may want to pick Fire Godlike instead, which I think is actually getting a boost. It has a bit of damage reduction, and also it causes a lot of damage to enemies when you get below 50% endurance. Fire Godlike does, if it still works in that way after the first patch. But one bonus to having Moon Godlike for the wizard, not only does it improve the wizard's endurance, putting it back up, but it also helps out nearby allies. So that could be very useful actually, if it still works in the same way after it's been tweaked a little. But yeah, that's what I would currently go for. Now, in terms of what spells you should go for the wizard, it's on the front line. So you probably want spells that help you out, well, at close range spells. So spells like Jolting Touch. This is a touch spell, so your wizard actually has to be next to the opponent. It's pretty good, does damage. This spell is pretty similar, I believe, so it's a touching spell, does freeze damage. But the most important spells you should probably be going for are the buffs to the actual wizard. So you're looking for extra deflection. The Spirit Shield is a very good one. Damage reduction. This will last 85 seconds with the extra intellect. So that's going to be huge. So that's one I would definitely take. I like both of those. You're not really trying to do damage with a melee wizard. It's just not really going to be possible with that amount of might. I mean, you could invest in might, I guess, but you'd have to lower your defenses, and then, well, the wizard wouldn't be much good, frankly, as a defender, which is the whole point of what I'm trying to achieve here. So, I think you're going to pick that. The accuracy is actually quite low with this wizard. You could pick that one. I think I will be picking that one later as well, but I'll pick that for now. Right, I think what I'm going to do now is show off the skills and abilities that I would recommend you pick, and show the wizard off a bit in combat. Okay, so this is our level 1 wizard. You can see that I've already given her some items. You're going to have to give the melee wizard some really heavy armor, since she's not going to have huge amount of health and endurance. Sadly, that of course lowers recovery speed, but there's no real way around that, I believe. In terms of weapons, you're definitely going to have to give her a shield as well, which is problematic in that you're probably not going to be doing much damage again. It also lowers accuracy. It actually lowers more accuracy than you would suspect as well. It says -10 there, but in reality it's -20. You can see it's been reduced there. Now I think on release of the game they may be actually changing the larger shields, how much deflection and how much accuracy they minus off them. So this could be a bit different in your version of the game. In terms of weapons, the hatchet might be a pretty good idea, since hatchets give extra deflection. So it's yet more defense for the wizard. So she's at the 52 with this amount here. And I haven't given her any extra talents yet either, so let's get into a half decent level actually. So I'll show you the character selection screens. You can see all the details there first. Right, and let's level her up a bit. Now, in my previous character creation videos I've leveled up my characters to level 12, but because this is a kind of a theory video on whether or not a melee wizard is viable, a frontline wizard, I think I'm just going to level up to level 6, so I've got a certain amount of talents and spells, so you can see how it works up to that level. So her accuracy and deflection won't also be leveled up to crazy amounts, and well, if she was at level 12 she'd definitely be able to take on most of the opponents that I can take on in this backer beta. So let's skip the skills for the time being. I've got one more pick at this level. Now later on, of course, with the wizards you can get all of the potential spells. If you kill a wizard in combat and have a grimoire on them, you can take their grimoire and then add their spells into your own grimoire. I think it costs a small amount of money. I think there may be other ways you can get all of these spells, maybe buy them from a wizard shop if such a thing exists. It probably does. I'm going to take this one. Now I'm focusing, of course, here on close range spells in terms of damage spells, but in the main, personal buffs to the wizard to keep her alive, basically. Now, first talents are going to pick here. You've got to increase your defense if you need to. If you're going to be having the wizard as a frontline wizard. So let's go for one of these. I'll go for weapon and shield. So that also gives bonus to reflex as well, which is a bit weak because we don't have much dexterity. Be much stronger now though. It's the third level. So I'm looking for personal buffs and short range combat spells. So that's a pretty good one. Huge amount of damage reduction. It lasts a huge amount of time as well. It's because my intelligence. If I was going to go for the more damaging spells, they just don't do much damage because of my low might. So they're not so valuable with this wizard type. So I think here I'm going to go for infuse with vital essence. This gives you a boost to your endurance and your health for a small but not super small amount of time. And I'm also going to go for mirrored image, which gives you deflection and until damage, but it's actually lowered for each hit taken, so it lasts a while in theory. I've got one more spell at this level, so what else would I recommend here? I'm still recommending that one. And basically the close range spells. That's a pretty close range spell, could be pretty good. What's that? That's 6 meters. Paralyzed. Yeah, the affliction ones would be quite good for a melee wizard actually, since your might won't affect them, just your duration. So that's actually a pretty good spell. And all of these are more offensive and damaging spells. Since that's going to be useless in this combat example, I think I will go for... That'd be alright. Let's take that one. Right, and I'm still going to have to get cautious attack, more deflection. Right, the next... right, we're up to level 3 spells now. To be honest, the level 3 spells don't have many personal buffs, so it's a bit more difficult to pick them here. That one gives extra deflection and reflex, so I think I'm going to take that one. There's that one, which is a close range spell. Arcane Dampener would be pretty good for a melee wizard, since it's not might based, I think, it's just duration. I think that's probably the most damaging spell of the list, so if you did want a damage spell here, then maybe that would be the one to go for. This one is a weapon. Problem is, if you use weapon spells, then you would no longer be using your shield, so you'd be easier to hit. So that's a problem. This spell, sadly, it doesn't last long at all. Terrified and Sickness. But it doesn't use might, so who knows, maybe that could be pretty good for a melee wizard actually. It really is short though. I think they should probably... Oh, it's quite a big duration actually, which I hadn't noticed that, so maybe it's better than I thought. Yeah, let's try that one then, and try... that one, is it? Oh, level 6, I might as well spend some of these, so I think... 3 into that and the rest into mechanics. Okay. Something like that. So this wizard would be scouting, looking for traps. That's what I would use it as. Let's go for Arcane Dampener as well. It's not really going to be much use in this combat example, but yeah, I'll take it anyway. And for last talent, there isn't much more deflection. You can get that, but it's only +5, so I'm not sure it's worthwhile. The Grimoire Slam doesn't do much damage. This is quite good for a normal conventional wizard because it has a push ability. You'd want to push back your opponents. It's per encounter, which is very rare for the wizard though, so I think I will take it. Blast, I'm not going to be using a rod or scepter with this wizard, so it's pointless in taking. Arcane Veil, sadly it's per rest as well, the bane of the melee wizard. Going to be discussing more about that later though. But yeah, you might want to take that. So let's go for Grimoire Slam. Okay, so let's take a look at the melee wizard in combat. So I'll show you the stats at level 6. So deflection is very high now. I can also increase that even more by sticking cautious attack on. So up to 96 now. So we should be able to avoid getting hit quite a lot with a melee wizard, but whether or not this is a good class or good build, we'll see in this shortly, I guess. So let's take on an easy group of opponents first of all. Give the melee wizard an easy challenge first. This is on Path of the Damned, so it's the hardest difficulty level. All these opponents have a lot better stats, a lot better accuracy, and it's a lot harder to hit them as well. So sadly, a lot of the wizard's abilities, you can't use them straight away, they're combat only. So let's initiate combat by, I think that guy's got a gun and probably does the most damage, so we'll attack him first. Right. Slow combat so you can see things in more detail. Right, so let's start to use some of these things, and so first things first, I'm going to use that. This increases our max endurance and max health, so it's a bit of a buffer. Any damage I take here won't really in effect happen in theory. Dexterity is awful, so it takes a while to enact. We're being flanked, so that's less deflection. Is that kicked in? He might have missed then, did he? Not sure. I think it's a bit of a bug here. Should be adding 50. It has gone up though, I think. I'm not sure why it says 449 now. But, right, let's use some spells here. So I've actually got this staff in my book now as well. I've added that. I think I'm going to need the extra aim. Because I'm carrying a shield, our targeting accuracy is going to be terrible, so let's use that temporarily. Okay, that's a pretty quick spell. So it's been used, great. Now Jolting Touch is probably very good for this situation since it jumps. So let's use, what's that as well? Paralyzed. Yeah, Paralyzed really isn't going to help me here because I'm on my own. Normally you'd be having other people help you. The wizard isn't really, melee wizard isn't designed to do damage, but against low level opponents I think you can do a bit of damage winning on your own in combat. So let's target that one, I think. We can hit. Yes, so that did half decent amount of damage. Well, I haven't said that. They've got a lot left. So let's use Jolting Touch again. Yeah, your might is so low you just don't do much damage whatsoever. Wow, you really don't, do you? So this combat might be a bit harder than I actually thought it was going to be. Let's get the dwarf in. How about? She's not getting 2 damage. Right, these are per encounter abilities, so I can use those. Let's just do that. Okay. And let's use that one again. But survivability wise, it seems to be working. Let's I'm not sure why I moved down there. Let's use Grimoire Slam. Okay, should be dead in a second.
Yes.
When you do get damage, Silver Tide kicks in basically straight away and gives you your health back. So if you've got a ton of companions around, it makes it even more useful. What was that too? Yeah, a ton of extra endurance for over a huge range.
Yes.
Right, let's take on a more much stronger opponent. It's nearer to our level. Right, this guy's got extremely heavy armor, so we're not going to have a chance of killing him, but let's see if we can last against him. So let's start the combat. Right, let's use that. Now this guy, what is stats? He has accuracy of 67, which is pretty good. Did we miss him? Here we go. He's got defense of 63 and 16.5 damage reduction, so yeah, we're not going to be able to damage him at all with the actual wizard. Even the spells would have a hard time hitting him, let alone doing damage of a low might. But we can see if the melee wizard is capable of surviving this or not. I think I'll help out there, though. So that's in place. Now this spell's actually amazing. Long duration and extra damage reduction, so I probably use this in most hard combats. Now, something you may be realizing at this point is that I don't have so many spells I used to. They're all per rest abilities, and that's quite a big issue, because if you're relying on these in every combat just to stay alive, then you're going to run out in not many combats. And at the higher difficulty levels where you can't rest very often, you can rest 2 times on Path of the Damned before you're out of camp supplies. Then how viable the wizard's going to be is open to debate. Actually, instead of using that, I think I'll use that just to show off the staff as well. The wizard's going to get hit a lot more now though, if I use that. So I think I've conclusively proved that you can get the wizard up to a very high level of deflection. It's quite easy for opponents to miss you and potentially not do too much damage, but whether or not it's worthwhile taking, I don't know. We've got this in place now though, so we actually do a decent amount of damage, but that's lowered my defenses a huge amount. So I'm expecting this guard to really hurt me pretty hard now if he's attacking the wizard rather than... Yeah, he is attacking the wizard.
Damn, missed.
The Silver Tide will start to kick in soon. What I just did there. But if you want to do damage with the wizard, that spell's great. What else have I got here? You've got your per encounter abilities, you can use that for damage, great for area of effect. So, the wizard is lasting, but I've probably used all the Silver Tide, or that was the last one then. So the wizard would go down in a bit. Oh, he's actually dead, surprisingly. So in conclusion, I think the melee wizard might actually be viable. Definitely at normal difficulty level, maybe at hard or Path of the Damned. But whether or not it's a better choice over a defensive fighter or a defensive paladin for a frontline class, I'm not so sure. It could be fun to play, definitely, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be better than those classes. It may be definitely worth your while to check out though. Okay, I'm going to have to call it an end of the video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have and you fancy helping me out, you may want to give this video a like. I'm really grateful to those of you who do that, as it helps boost my videos up in the search rankings. That's something I could really do that with the help with if going to have enough people looking at my Let's Play in the next few days or so. I'm going to be doing a Let's Play, of course, for Pillars of Eternity when the game comes out on the 26th or just after it. It's going to be a full retail version Let's Play of the game, not a review version. I think there's a few differences with the review version. They haven't updated certain racial traits that I mentioned previously in this video, like the Moon Godlike and the Fire Godlike, and that shield difference as well. It is possible that the game will be updated at some point as well, but probably not the early videos they do on it, the review people, really large channels. So if you want to see a min-maxed Path of the Damned Let's Play, this is the place to see it, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. If you have any comments or questions about this video though, you may want to let me know. If you want some more information about this class, or you want to see certain class videos in the future, then please ask about that. And I think that covers just about everything. You may want to subscribe as well, especially if you intend to watch that Let's Play when it's out. Then basically a subscription feed will let you know when those videos are coming. Right, that's it though for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.